Hey y'all. Hey y'all, it's Cindy Island here. That's Island with a Y, not an S. How you doing? You taking care of yourself? You washing that booty crack on a regular basis? You using, what kind of soap you using? Cause some of these soaps anyway, that ain't none of my business. Ain't none of my business. You know, if your booty hole start breaking out, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay? Anyway, let's just jump into the topic of this video, which is, oh boy, it's gonna be a loaded ass video. Okay, so if you got some popcorn in your cabinet, in your food pantry, wherever, pop that mug. Okay, pop that mug in the microwave. If you got you some alcohol, some tequila, me on the other hand, I got some red blend red wine. Okay, and I ain't gonna lie, it don't taste as good as some of the other ones. Okay, it's not a very high percentage, it's a very low kind of percentage, but I'm feeling it though. Know what I'm saying? I'm feeling it. It's good. Cindy, shut up. Ain't nobody worry about your wine. Don't nobody care about that. So in this video, I want to talk about what happens when playing the victim goes too damn far. Okay? When playing the victim goes too far. I have made quite a few videos about when am I gonna edit this video? Probably. I'm gonna edit this video. I have made a couple of videos about narcissist versus empath, like the narcissist versus empath relationship dynamic, right? A lot of the times this dynamic is a narcissistic parent with an empathetic child, and sometimes it's a narcissistic, like a whole family unit of narcissists, and there's that one empath that is really supposed to break the generational curses, right? And if you heard that and that was like the first time you ever heard it like that, and you're like, whoa, this video is for you. Okay, keep on doing your research. I always have to say that because I never want people to listen to what I say and just take it and run with it and be like, okay, because this girl said that this was her experience and I feel like my experience is kind of sort of similar, that means that that's automatically what I'm experiencing. No, I really always recommend that you do the research, because I've been doing the research for the past 2 years. Ever since I left my toxic family dynamic, I've been doing the research. So I don't just say what I say out of emotion, you know what I'm saying? I say what I say out of research, out of observation, and things like that. Okay, so this message is not just for narcissists or people that you believe are narcissists. This video is for everybody, including us sensitive ass empaths. Okay, nobody is exempt from having had at one point play the victim, and for that to result in their own demise. But I have to say that the driving force behind me making this video is from very traumatic experiences where the narcissist played the victim and projected their lack of accountability out onto me, the scapegoat, the family scapegoat, the family empath, right? That's the driving force behind it. But anybody can be guilty of playing the victim. Okay? Let it flow, Sydney. Just let it flow. Father God, give me the words to speak. Father God, fill me up with you. not with me. Okay. So, when these narcissists failed to take accountability for where they were in life and for the mistakes that they made, they projected that lack of accountability and lack of responsibility out onto me, and I was the family scapegoat. It was very, very painful to be the one blamed for everything that didn't go right in 3 different full-grown adults' life. When I was in my phase of naivety and immaturity, I really did believe that I was at fault for their misery. I really genuinely did believe that. I felt that it was my job to make sure that they all were happy. That they all were happy with life, that they all were happy with themselves, and that they all were happy with me. I especially wanted them to be happy with me. I was an absolute chronic people pleaser. And they took complete, total advantage of that. I was too kind for my own good. And sometimes, like to this very day, I sometimes resent my own kindness because there's like this anger and fear behind being kind. Because I feel that my kindness led to my abuse. And that's really not how a kind and good-hearted person should ever feel about their kindness. You should never feel like I was abused because I'm a good person. But I really do feel that way. And I'm only hoping and praying, and I'm working towards, I'm hoping and praying that I don't continue to feel this way for too long. And I'm working towards not feeling this way. I'm currently in therapy, talking to a therapist about, being the family scapegoat, because I really do take this seriously, because it caused me a lot of depression. It caused me even more anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. I have a mild version of that. It has eased up a little bit, but because there was so much screaming and arguing and threats of violence, it was always one particular person, and that was my younger sister. She threatened to rip my hair out. She came into my room and destroyed everything. And she threatened to punch me in the face. She said she wanted me to get hit by a bus, all these things. And the root of it was her lack of accountability for the part that she played in her own pain. Y'all gotta understand, it is never easy to make these videos. I make these videos because I'm concerned about the young women out there that are just like me, except younger. I was going through this in my teen years, early 20s to mid 20s. And I didn't get out until I was 26. And I'm about to be 29 this month, at the end of this month. So it really wasn't that long ago. So the passion and the fury is kind of somewhat fresh, but at the same time, it's been almost 3 years, so it kind of is not fresh at the same time. There's just been a lot of therapy, reevaluation, research, and other relationships, friendships. I've had 2 boyfriends and quite a few situationships since then. So there's been a lot of relationships since then. So there's also been a lot of growth since then. And there's been quite a few jobs since then, and quite a few different homes, a few different living situations and things like that. So I have grown a lot. Since the experience with my family. I personally, every time I make these videos and I see how much it's helping people, I care a lot less about people not believing in it and trying to dispute its validity, right? So if you don't think it's real, or you think I'm being dramatic, or you think I'm lying or making it up, I care a lot less than what I originally would have cared like 5 years ago, you know? But I'm an Aries Mars. There's always a part of me that is rebellious and just is going to do what she wants to do, regardless of how some strangers on the internet feels. I make these videos for people that is really going to help and really going to benefit. I gotta pee. Now, if you haven't seen my video called, what's it called? Being a scapegoat in a narcissistic family, parentheses, my experience, you should go check that out. It's probably gonna be somewhere up in this corner, somewhere up in there. Go ahead and watch that. Watch that. Because that's kind of the precursor to this video. Watch any video with the word narcissist, scapegoat, or empath. Watch any of those videos. Because they all tie into one big story, right? Which is, I was the family punching bag. I was the family toilet. I was the family dumping grounds. And the term dumping grounds, I never really used until my very first love, my ex-boyfriend. He used that term. When I was confessing to him, you know, when he kind of like, quote unquote, rescued me from like the abuse going on, and I was venting to him in his apartment, he was like, Sydney, you need to say this to yourself, that you are not the dumping grounds for your family. That's not your purpose. And although he was a crazy, disruptive Scorpio, I'm using the word disruptive to not be mean, he did help me with the process, the healing process, and the process of coming to terms with everything that happened to me with my family. He did help me. Although sometimes he was selfish about that, and, you know, selfish about some things, you know, I'm not perfect either, you know, so I'm not bashing him, because if it wasn't for him, I would not have gotten out of that situation as soon as I did. So I really have to give him his props. I have to give that man his props. You know, he was my saving grace at that time. He really was. I'm no longer in love with him, and I never will fall in love with that man ever again. And that's all right with me. It's more than all right with me. I wish him the absolute best. I wish him nothing but good things. I wish him nothing but prosperity. I really do. He helped me with a lot of spiritual healing. He helped me with a lot of sexual healing and things like that. So anyway, because of my family's lack of accountability for where they were, it fell back on me. They existed in this illusion that Sydney has it easy and we have it hard. And Sydney has it easy because we are doing everything for her, and she's doing nothing for us. But I feel like tolerating verbal abuse for year after year after year, and having constant verbal attack year after year after year, even as you are sitting at the front desk of your library job, at the library of your university as a college student, and you see a long text from your big sister who's living in a city that's like an hour and a half away. I think it was 2 hours. The city, my home city, was 2 hours away from my college city. And you sit there and you read her message, and she's blaming you and all this, and you're literally at work. You're at work at your university trying to make money and get your degree. And your big sister, who was terrified to go off to school, was sitting at home with mom, messaging you all this long negative message. And then your vibe is ruined at your job. I don't care what nobody say. From all of my experience working many different jobs, and also having the plan to be a businesswoman one day and an entrepreneur, hopefully, home and relationships in your personal life should never mush with your professional life. It should never mush with your professional life. It should never mush with your business or anything, right? I try to have empathy. Like, I don't even try, child. I don't even have to try. My natural response is to try to understand, right? I hate to use the word try. My natural response is to understand. Because I'm like, well, she didn't know that I was at work. You know, she just was messaging me in the heat of emotion. And then that other side of me, that cutthroat, mature side of me is like, who gives a damn? You should have called me on the phone and had this conversation with me. You should have called me on my phone and we should have had this conversation like adults. Either way you put it, why the F are you messaging me when I'm off at school in another city with all this negativity? Blaming me for your financial issues and we're not even in the same city. It makes no sense. And back then I was so naive and so vulnerable that I really took that on. And I really thought that I was the blame for her issues that she was having. Even though I had been gone for months at university and she was in another city. Oh my God. But it put a damper on my mood, and I was very much unable to enjoy my college experience because of my family. Mind you, I live with 3 family members, and only one of them came to the same, went to school with me, right? Yeah, she really ruined a lot of stuff. But anyway, fast forward to another memory of me being in the lobby of one of my dorm buildings. I'm in the lobby and I'm painting and I'm doing art in the lobby and I'm like really in a good mood. I'm like painting. And then my mom sends me a text message and it's so negative and pessimistic that I just, this sick, miserable feeling comes over me. And I just can't even create art anymore. And I pack up all of my art supplies and I go to my dorm room and I just sulk. Mind you, at the time, I think I was like 20. I was no older than 21. And those things would happen quite often when I was off at school. My sister, who actually came, we went to the same school together, she would do the same thing, and how like there's like, I'm trying to word this in a way, it's kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to, it's not hard, it's just the fear behind it. When you are the family scapegoat, you have a lot of fears when it comes to how to word things, because they tried to screw up everything when it came to communication. What they did not want is for you to ever speak. And they dang sure didn't want you to speak the right way. They didn't want you to speak. Because, I noticed, when I would pick up on certain things and realize certain things and certain patterns, and I would tell them what I noticed, they would have this facial expression like they didn't want to accept it. They didn't want to accept the things that I noticed, the negative patterns that I noticed about the family and the negative patterns that I noticed about the world. It was almost like how come I can't notice that? But they would try to mask it. And me being a very intuitive person, and I can read through people's masks like that, I could tell. Somebody else who was not very perceptive wouldn't be able to tell. And also someone who's been through so much of that narcissistic abuse, you kind of become an expert at being able to read the body language of a narcissist. So it's kind of like that facial expression. of like, how come I can't notice that? And also the other one of that condescending body language and like the not making eye contact and intentionally acting like that I don't notice, that I don't care, like intentionally acting like I don't care what you're saying to me right now. Anyway, I'm trying to stay on top. Playing the victim, acting as if your pain and your misery and your physical illness and your financial issues and your horrific ability to attract the man of your dreams or whatever, acting as if it's somebody else's fault, especially somebody who doesn't have like any power over your life, it's pathetic and it's disruptive. And even while I'm making this video, I have to constantly break through the negative things that they have said to me. Like, there you go blaming me, and there you go acting like I'm you know, so that you know how they are. And so it's never really easy for me to make videos like these. But I make them anyway. Cause you know, I'm known to do things that are very challenging, because I feel like if you take the easy way out, what are you doing? You know, you ain't gonna get nowhere. You know, you ain't gonna get nowhere. So take accountability. My family not being able to take accountability for the horrible ability to save money and take care of their physical health, it caused me to have PTSD. It's terrifying to see a person in the midst of a psychotic break because they cannot accept the fact that they are the cause of every single ounce and every single inch of their own emotional agony. So they try their absolute hardest to create emotional agony in another. And that was my experience. And for anybody who is living in a household where you minding your business, you going to work and coming home, going to work, coming home, getting your groceries, coming home, going to work, getting your groceries, coming home, and you just minding your business, trying to make ends meet. You're just trying to survive. And then all of a sudden, a family member that you live with rises up in this furious uproar. And they're accusing you of a bunch of stuff that you had no idea that you even did. It's drama, it's chaos, and it is not needed in your life. If you have to keep defending yourself every week about something new, and most of those things are things that you didn't even know was going on, there's something going on behind the scenes that you are not quite seeing. You need to go. You need to run. You need to pack up your bags. Because these full-grown adults who are rising up in an uproar against you, they're not as much of a victim as they are behaving as if they are. You are not the reason why they are suffering. Now, let's not act like that we cannot hurt somebody or negatively affect somebody's life. But just like my family hurt me, it is up to me to seek therapy and heal from it. It is up to me to work hard to develop a career for myself. I can't sit in this room and say, well, my family abused me. They verbally abused me. They tried to strip me of my own self-esteem. So I'm just going to sit here and be broke and not try to be anything in life. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. I'm currently a stage manager of a children's play right now, and it just kind of, it ushers me into my purpose, my creative purpose in the field of theater and acting and film. Is something that I want to do for a living. And if it wasn't for me taking the initiative and emailing the artistic director of the play, I wouldn't be a part of it. Everything that you do in life is a choice. Every home that you choose to move into, every blunt you choose to smoke, every dude that you choose to sleep with, it's all a choice, unless you are a minor. But if you are over the age of 21, you need to start taking accountability. You can't keep screaming and crying and saying so-and-so, the reason why I'm broke is because of so-and-so. The reason why I don't have what I need is because of so-and-so. People are going to begin to look at you like you're pathetic. And the thing with narcissists is they're hooked onto the this theme of the scapegoat never viewing them as pathetic, no matter how pathetic they behave. The vulnerable empath, the vulnerable people-pleasing empath, for some reason they just cannot see that I am actually a loser. They really think that they are at fault for all of these idiotic stories that I'm creating. They really think that this is really going on. Silly them. Just as long as they act like they believe me, I'll keep on accusing them of this and that and gossiping to all the family about all these quote-unquote horrible things that they were doing that you yourself didn't even know you did. You want to know why you didn't know you did it? Because you never did it. At least you never did it in the way that they describe it, right? They have a funny way of describing things like this. Oh my God! She came into my room, she punched me in the face, she snatched my wallet and took my money, right? But in reality, they knocked on your door, you opened the door, and they said to you, hey, I see that you're struggling. You want some money? And you kind of look at them like, you're subconscious, you don't trust them. Because you know that they're not trustworthy based on their previous behavior. Like, I don't know. And they say, I insist that you take this money. I insist. And you're like, I don't know. I don't want to. But I set things up in my life so that I can help a person like you. Yeah. And you're like, are you sure? And they're like, yes, I'm ready to help. And you're like, okay. And they're like, okay, yes, yay. And then you ask them for help because they offered it. And then you ask them again. You ask them for help the first time, they give you a little bit of money. You ask them again, they give you a little bit of money. And then I be trying not to make this video so long, but when I get into this stuff, it just flies out. And then little ways down the line, you hear them banging against walls and screaming and saying, oh my gosh, she took my money. She's not going to get any more money from me. And I'm like, what? You literally offered me money. And that's what she's saying to your family members. You know what I'm thinking? She's a liar. She's telling some type of lie. I just know she ain't telling them that she offered it first. She intentionally orchestrated it to be like that. She intentionally came in with this mindset, with this scheme, this game in her mind. Or at least it comes across that way to me. So that she can trap you. She did it so that she can use something against you. She didn't want to help you. She just didn't like that you were free and that you didn't need her for anything. Because if you didn't need her, you might end up running off and being successful and being happy. And her narcissistic ass, she can't let you have that. She got to be able to have something over you that makes it easy for her to implant the seed of misery within your spirit, right? So you say, she's not gonna get any more money from me, and she knows that I got these issues, and how dare she ask me for money? And you like, I literally told you that I literally told you I didn't really want to take money from you. I was so hesitant, and she knew. You seen everybody, every word I told you. I said, I don't want to treat you like a walking bank. That's what I told her. And I showed clear anxiety towards accepting money from her. Because in the past, she did the same thing. And I was the dummy. For falling for it once again. And now everybody's looking at me. How could you take money from this disabled, wounded woman? And you're like, well, I didn't take it. She offered it. They acted as if I barged into her room and stole it. But the only reason why you asked is because she offered. You had been fine on your own. You had been fine on your own, trying to work things out financially. And then she came to me. So, in essence, she created her own problem, which is what a professional victim does. But is it really a problem if you ask for it? Is it really a problem if you act as if you actually wanted it? To me, it's just nothing but deception. You're deceiving a person into thinking that you don't mind them asking you for money just so that you can flip it on them at the last minute when they're least expecting it and say, I never wanted you to take my money. How could you? But the fact of the matter is, that is going to go to the grave with her. She knows what she did. She knows that she is acting on a complete and total fabrication. She knows that deep in her heart. And it is eating her alive. It has been eating her alive for a very long time. Ever since that incident, when I packed up my things and left because I was not about to deal with that level of deception. That was the highest level of deception I had ever experienced from her. And I was not okay with that because she really felt that I was a cockroach underneath her boot that she could just play with and do whatever she wanted with. And I was not okay with that. Like, she literally was treating me like I was the sewage underneath the ground. And if you were so bothered by me asking for money, which, by the way, you opened up that door for that anyway. If you were so bothered by it, the adult thing to do, the mature thing to do would be to say, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And you sit down at a table like a civilized adult with brain cells. And you say, I don't want to give you any more money. Yeah, that's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. And I would have said, okay. And then I would have walked the fuck away and made my own goddamn money, because that's what I was doing anyway. So, yeah. But she didn't do that. She didn't have a conversation with me. She just ran to somebody else and said, Cindy took money from me. Cindy took money from me. OMG, Cindy took money from me. Next thing you know, I get a text message from my big sister saying, how could you take money from so-and-so when she's in this type of condition? How could you da-da-da-da? And the condition was a complete shock to me, which she intentionally didn't tell me about. And I felt slighted, I felt betrayed, I felt used, I felt manipulated, I felt deceived. I felt like I should never have accepted that money from that monstrous beast hiding behind the mask of a sweet young lady. I shouldn't have fell for her fake, phony, I'm so sweet and caring act. It was all an act. Because if you really cared about me, and if you really respected me and valued my life, you would have sat your skinny black ass down and had a conversation with me instead of running off and gossiping to everybody under the sun and telling everybody everything about everything and don't tell me nothing. I'm supposed to be the person that you have all this feeling towards, yet you say nothing to me. I am absolutely furious. Professional victim. And my goal with all of this is to be able to one day sit down with maybe my therapist, maybe my husband, maybe my kids, who knows, and say, but I forgive them. Or if I can't say that, at least say, but I am healed from all of that. And I am not angry with them at all. That's what I dream of. I just dream of the day when I'm not mad anymore. I make these videos in hopes that I can release the anger. But right now, I'm madder than an MF. But I'm not seeking revenge or anything, you know. I really hope that they get the healing that they need so that they don't F nobody else's life up with their emotional chaos. And that's it. Stop playing the victim, because it can destroy somebody's peace for a very long time, you know? Love yourself and love life. Give this video a thumbs up. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Bye-bye.